The most dangerous person in any conflict isn't the loudest, the strongest, or the most aggressive. It's the calmest. Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary Japanese swordsman, understood this paradox deeply. He developed a systematic approach to managing emotions that utterly neutralized his opponents, allowing him to win 60 duels to the death in a row. This wasn't some mystical trick. It was a four-step system for maintaining composure that works in any modern conflict, and it begins with a principle most people never even consider: emotional distance. Think about it. When someone shouts at you or challenges you, your body instantly floods with stress hormones. Your heart races, muscles tense, and your thinking becomes narrow, like looking through a tunnel. This is the trap most people fall into during a dispute. Musashi discovered that the key to victory wasn't superior swordsmanship, but the ability to rise above this emotional storm. In his writings, he described looking at conflict from above, as if observing passing clouds without becoming part of the storm itself. Recall the last time someone made you angry. In that moment, you became your anger. Your words, actions, and thoughts, everything was dictated by the emotion, not your true objectives. This is exactly what Musashi's opponents did. They became their anger, fear, or pride. Emotional distance means creating space between what's happening and how you react. When someone insults you, instead of immediately lashing out, you notice the feeling rising within you. I notice I'm feeling anger, and you think, not I am angry. This small shift in perspective changes everything. Musashi honed this skill by facing increasingly dangerous situations, yet always maintaining this mental stance. In his most famous duel against Sasaki Kojiro, his opponent arrived agitated and impatient. Musashi deliberately arrived late, further rattling Kojiro. While Kojiro became his anger, Musashi remained detached from his emotions, seeing the entire conflict clearly. To develop this skill, start with a simple practice. In any conflict, no matter how small, when you feel strong emotions, tell yourself, I notice I'm feeling emotion. This creates a tiny space between you and the feeling, and with practice, that space will grow. Modern research backs up Musashi's intuition. Brain scans show that people who label their emotions activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thinking, which calms emotional centers. This is why therapists teach patients to name their feelings during stress. But emotional distance alone isn't enough. Once you've created that space, you need to understand what's coming next in the conflict. This leads us to Musashi's second principle: anticipatory awareness. Musashi called this foreknowledge, the ability to sense what would happen before it did. In his Book of Five Rings, he wrote about anticipating an opponent's moves. This isn't about mind reading, but about understanding human patterns. When a person is angry, they follow predictable paths. When someone feels threatened, their reactions narrow to a few highly probable options. Musashi studied these patterns with an almost scientific rigor. Think about how an experienced chess player sees 5 moves ahead. They're not guessing. They're recognizing patterns and likely responses. Musashi applied the same approach to human behavior in conflict. Our bodies react differently to sudden stress versus anticipated stress. When conflict catches you off guard, your body instantly dumps a load of stress hormones, triggering that fight or flight response. But when you anticipate a challenge, your brain prepares more thoughtfully, releasing smaller, controlled bursts of stress hormones that sharpen focus without clouding your mind. In his most challenging duels, Musashi would study his opponents beforehand. He learned their favorite techniques, their temperaments, even how they handled pressure. Before his duel with the aggressive Sasaki Kojiro, Musashi carved a wooden sword while traveling by boat. He deliberately made it slightly longer than Kojiro's famous longsword, knowing it would give him a subtle reach advantage. You can develop this awareness with a simple practice. Before any potentially difficult conversation, take 30 seconds to ask yourself 3 questions. What emotional state is this person most likely in? What do they truly want from this interaction? What are 3 most likely reactions they might display? This works because you're training your brain to recognize patterns. The boss who criticizes everything will likely criticize your new proposal. The conflict-averse friend will probably change the subject if you bring up something sensitive. By anticipating these reactions, you remove the emotional surprise. A modern example confirms this principle. During high-stakes negotiations, Experienced FBI hostage negotiators spend extensive time analyzing the personality of the individual they're dealing with. They study past reactions to predict behavior. This foreknowledge allows them to remain calm when others would panic, choosing words and tactics that de-escalate tension rather than inflaming it. Anticipatory awareness transforms conflicts from chaotic emotional outbursts into more predictable situations you can manage. But even with emotional distance and anticipation, Musashi understood that true composure under pressure required a third crucial element. The third principle in Musashi's system is strategic breathing. In his text, Musashi emphasized that breath control was essential for maintaining clarity during combat. He observed that when swordsmen began to fear or rage, their breathing was the first thing to change, becoming shallow, fast, and irregular. Musashi taught that by managing your breath, you manage your mind. In his training, he placed special emphasis on proper breathing exercises while performing sword techniques. Your breath is directly linked to your emotional state. When you're calm, you breathe slowly and deeply. When you're scared or angry, your breathing becomes rapid and shallow. But this connection works both ways. By consciously altering your breath, you can alter how you feel. This happens because of your nervous system. Fast, shallow breathing activates the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response. Slow, deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode. The former fuels panic, the latter fuels calm. Musashi developed a specific breathing rhythm for conflict situations. Before key moments in a duel, he would take one controlled breath. He'd inhale through his nose for a count of 4, briefly hold his breath, then exhale through his mouth for a count of 6. You can use this technique in modern conflicts. When tension rises in a meeting, during an argument, or before delivering bad news, use this breathing rhythm. 4 in, 6 out. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. Even one such cycle noticeably calms you. Emotional distance gives you space from reactions. Anticipatory awareness helps you prepare for what's coming. Strategic breathing provides the physiological calm to think clearly, but the final principle brings all of this together, giving your newfound composure, purpose, and direction. The fourth principle in Musashi's approach is purposeful action. In his writings, Musashi emphasized that a clear objective is more powerful than any emotion. While his opponents often fought out of anger or fear, Musashi always fought with a specific goal in mind. This focus on purpose is consistently found in his famous text, The Book of Five Rings. He writes that a warrior should not aim to strike first, but instead remain focused on his ultimate objective. For Musashi, every move, every decision served a greater purpose than simply winning the current engagement. Having a clear objective completely changes the dynamic of a conflict. When someone challenges you and you react emotionally, you're playing by their rules. But when you're focused on your larger purpose, you control the direction of the interaction. Think about arguments that spiral out of control. They usually start with a specific issue but quickly devolve into a laundry list of old grievances, personal attacks, and hurt. This happens because both people lose sight of any goal other than defending themselves or hurting the other. A simple technique for maintaining purposeful focus comes directly from Musashi's approach. Before any potential conflict, define your true objective in one clear sentence. Ask yourself, what outcome will truly serve my long-term goals? Keep this objective in mind throughout the interaction. As emotions heat up and the conflict intensifies, mentally repeat your objective. This creates an anchor for your attention, preventing you from getting carried away by fleeting feelings. Your words and actions will then align with that objective, not your immediate emotional reactions. Purposeful action doesn't mean ignoring emotions. Rather, it means your emotions serve your purpose, not the other way around. This is the culmination of Musashi's system. Emotional distance creates space. Anticipatory awareness provides foresight. Strategic breathing maintains calm, and purposeful action directs that calm toward meaningful outcomes. But what makes these four principles truly powerful? It's their connection to something much deeper than mere conflict management. These techniques unveil a fundamental truth about human nature that most people never realize. These principles directly relate to the Buddhist concept of non-attachment. By creating emotional distance, you practice non-attachment to your reactive thoughts. Through anticipatory awareness, you transcend a narrow view of the present moment. With strategic breathing, you become aware of the impermanence of emotional states, and through purposeful action, you align with the Taoist idea of Wu Wei, effortless, natural action that follows the flow of things. This approach is especially relevant today because we live in an era of constant conflict. Social media algorithms push us towards arguments. Political systems thrive on division. Even personal relationships suffer from increased stress and decreased patience. The modern person faces more conflicts in a day than Musashi might have faced in a month. The greatest irony is that while we need emotional control more than ever, we practice it less than ever. People instantly react to provocations, sending angry texts, posting emotional comments, or letting minor disagreements escalate into relationship-destroying fights. The person who maintains composure in such an environment doesn't just win arguments. They achieve a level of clarity others can't even comprehend. And there's one more thing about mastering emotional control that's rarely discussed. It shows you how many conflicts are actually unnecessary. When you stop automatically reacting to provocations, you find that many conflicts simply dissolve without your participation. A truly powerful person isn't the one who wins every conflict, but the one who only engages in the conflicts that truly matter. Which of Musashi's principles do you find most challenging to apply in your own life?